One thing that is very fun about being in Pittsburgh is your sort of singleness in fandom. The way that you love the Steelers, right? The way that you, yeah. I saw this story about a woman whose husband sadly passed, and to commemorate him, she kept his Steelers tattoo. I'm glad we're on the same page. Because initially when I saw it, I was like, what? Yeah, no, kept the Steelers tattoo and it's like in a little, and then in the article, she was like, yes, we kept the tattoo. No, we don't think it's weird. And I was like, I figured you didn't think it was weird. Seems like it was your idea. That would be wild if you were sitting there holding the plaque like, I can't believe they let us do this. This is... little odd, right? And look, I don't know. Wow. Like when I saw it, I was like, because also, look, I'm not gonna linger on it too long, but it was a big tattoo, so I don't even know what that is. That back? Is that arm? Is that, you know what I mean? And maybe this is something that the husband would have loved. Maybe he's like, yeah, keep it, put it in the living room, right? I don't know. I also don't know how hauntings work, but I imagine I do imagine having some of my skin means I'm gonna stop by. If anybody ever kept some of my neck, I think I'd be like, we have to have a discussion. Poltergeist or not, I'm coming over, we're talking about it. You know, you already have to be careful in people's houses because you never know who got the urn on the mantle or something like that. I don't know why they don't sell urns with like a lock on it. Every urn I've ever come across just been ready to be opened like a cup of sugar. We gotta start making urns harder to spill. You know what I mean? I've been at people's houses where they got, whether it's like a family member or the pet, they got the urn on like a mantle or a bookshelf, and I'm like, that's a little high. If it falls, they will be everywhere. And it does sort of, I don't know. It does taint the memory a little bit if this urn fall and now you gotta Dyson him up. And then put him back in a new urn with whatever was on the carpet. Just something to think about, baby. Literally, just even McDonald's cups are harder to spill. Just something with a twist lock, something. Because let's be honest, unless you spread in the ashes, you never need the ashes. You know? It's not like you hiding something in the ashes and then you're gonna open up the urn, pull out the Glock. Like that'd be a wild home invasion. That'd be a wild, imagine you're, let's say somebody, goodness forbid, but let's say somebody broke in your house or something like that, and then they've got you and the family held hostage, and maybe you did something to them. Maybe you're a healthcare CEO, right? And so then they got you tied up with your family and everything, and it's like, look, I'm sorry, all right? And they're like, sorry is not enough, you about to go. It's like, okay. All right, I get that, but okay, but a long time ago, my wife passed, and I always said that, like, whenever I go, I'd like to go with her, and she's right there. Intruder gonna be like, over there? Yeah, she's on the fourth shelf next to Great Expectations. If I could just like hold her, I'll just, small kindness, let me hold her while you bow. The intruder's like, okay, go ahead. Go get her. Thanks, honey. No, it's wild. Because now that mantle it's like in a frame. And I guess they're gonna put it on the wall. That seemed just as precarious as any urn. Imagine you having a house party. And somebody bumped the frame, it fall. Now you getting yelled at, you knocked over daddy. Everybody does things differently, and some people very differently. But once again, I don't know if he would have loved this sort of thing, But it'd be crazy to think he might be looking down like, ugh. But in case he loves this sort of thing, and in case he can hear us on 3, I'd love all of you to join me in a Go Steelers. 1, 2, 3. Yeah. Hopefully that will stop me from being haunted. In my life, I've had a lot of roommates, and it's funny because, like, I don't know. I've talked about this before, but like, roommates is like extra family because you're poor. You don't exactly bunk up with a stranger because things are going well. Every roommate I've ever had has been out of necessity. And you just gotta get used to it. But it's crazy because people, the way that people are roommates is usually a clue into how they lived before, like how they were raised potentially. Maybe they were raised to act differently than they're acting as roommates, and this is them out on their own for the first time, rebelling against all these rules they had at home when they were, younger. That's the most charitable way to put it. Like, I think mostly a lot of people are insane. And there's nothing like having like a messy or lunatic roommate, and then maybe you do become friends though. Maybe you're friends, maybe you're friendly. And then you go visit them at their house and you see that it's pretty much the same. This person is wild through and through. I had a roommate that, there would be some nights where he would sleep in the bathtub. He had a bed, he had a mattress, he had pillows. But he said he would sleep in the bathtub because it felt more normal to him when he would wake up from a night terror. And I was like, I don't know how you find that out. That means this man had night terrors and tried every room before he went tub. And that was a tough roommate to have because, I would go to bed at a regular time, even a little late because, we're young and everything. We're in college, and then I would just know I can't go to the bathroom for the rest of the night. No, I can't. I'm gonna have to hold it until he wakes up, and what would normally be distressing, sleeping peacefully, and then hearing from the bathroom, is only made a relief, because then I know, okay, he's up, I can go. A lot of people in America worry about terrorism. This is a top concern for some people, and it just depends, mostly to me at least, on when you were born, And I think that within this understanding of terrorism, there are many different definitions, One definition is someone who stokes fear and anxiety for the purpose of fear and anxiety in their enemies. And there's a lot of talk of terrorism or potential terrorism. People get called terrorists all the time, and there are some people that want to equate terrorism to one specific group, one specific religion. But I know that there are terrorists, but the terrorists that I'm talking about, they have no religion. The terrorists that I'm talking about, the terrorists that I believe already live in the U.S., they don't have some God that they call to for their purpose of doing what they do. They just do it to stoke fear and anxiety. I'm talking about people who put an empty box of cereal back on the shelf. These people have no place in our society, all right? I had a roommate. Last straw for me was this man. I had bought some Cheerios, and I bought it for the group. We all eating out here. And so then I go to grab the Cheerios, and I'm excited, I'm hungry. And I go to grab the Cheerios, and there's a certain feeling. Anyone who's been a victim of what I'm talking about will know the feeling. It is a weightlessness of despair. You go to grab what you think might even be a half-full box of cereal, and in your attempt to grab it, you put too much energy, too much force into your shoulder, into your arm, into your hand. And when you put that force into your shoulder and your arm and your hand, and you grab the box of cereal and you go to lift it up, you hit the top of the cabinet. Because there's nothing in there. And not only is there nothing in there, what's been left is crumbs. And the sound of crumbs is the jingle bells of poverty, all right? I've never felt poorer than when I hear crumbs. Hearing crumbs is right out of Oliver Twist. Crumbs is what Charles Dickens wrote all his best work to. I didn't even think I could hear crumbs. Oh, but they have a sound. It's a mix between bread particles bouncing off each other and then a whisper. It's in a moment. It's something that almost can't be identified. And it's the whisper of those crumbs, the same way that you could split atoms or you could collide particles and make an entire boom, a bang, a nuclear bomb, and a hydrogen bomb. The banging together of these bread particles makes one singular noise, and it is the universe telling you from a point of almost quantum physics, bouncing the particles off each other, that you're poor. That's the sound of poor. Wouldn't you love to say yum? You'll never say it. You're too poor. These are crumbs. If you've ever in your life, out of necessity, not out of deliciousness, had to pour crumbs into your mouth, only in the Bible do I imagine this level of thirst for food. You might as well be in the desert. Even if you are in your Pittsburgh apartment, you might as well be in the desert if you are opening your mouth, letting it hang while an entire bag of crumbs slides and floats to your mouth. Because the crumbs that are sliding into your mouth from this bag, they have no Christianity. These crumbs are there to embarrass you. They're there to make you look and feel poor while you pour them into your mouth. Maybe that's where we get the word poor from, and maybe that's where we get the other word poor from, because you have to pour these into your mouth while you feel like the poorest person that has ever lived. And the bag is stiff because it's that hard, semi-soft plastic that they only make cereal bags out of. And because of that, it's got a lot of ridges. It's got a lot of things that the crumbs can slide and get caught up on, you know? It's a lot like when you try to get water to a new place and the water is working its way through the canyon, but it doesn't know where to go yet. It's being pushed by the other water. And this gravity that's pulling down the crumbs to your mouth has the crumbs rushing at you from all angles. Even when you try to pinch the bag, you try to pinch the bag to give yourself some dignity. You try to pinch it and straighten it up to make a funnel for your mouth, because this is all you have. Crumbs is all you have. Crumbs is your life. And so you make it as straight as possible. You slide it down. Only when you are making a paper plane do you have this level of intent as you straighten something out. You straighten it out as much as possible, and then you dip it into your mouth, and still the ridges find a way. Because the devil is busy. Oh, the devil is hard at work trying to make you look and feel poor, even if you're alone in the room. You pour the crumbs, they're rushing from all angles, skiing down the plastic to your mouth. But then something happens. You don't know if it's in the middle of the bag or it's at the very edge, because some bags, depending on what cereal you get, have smooth tops and some have ridged tops, okay? That's going to be important, because if it's a smooth top, the crumbs will slide out. If there's ridges right at the top, that means that the crumbs have one last giddy up before they get to your mouth. And so then not only do they giddy up, but you are looking for the food. You'd at least like to see what you're eating. And so you're looking down the bag, and the crumbs are like, we can go anywhere. We could go in your mouth, we could go up your nose, but we love to go in your eyes. And so then you're standing there with crumbs in your mouth and in your eyes and down your face and down your shirt, because as soon as they got in your eyes, they stung, because crumbs are sharp. You might as well juggle knives over your open eyes. You know what that feels like? To be You know what that feels like, to have to dig Cinnamon Toast Crunch out your eyes? Every cereal sharp. Every cereal is sharp. And so I remember I was a victim of terrorism. And I took my crumbs like a man. But then I confronted my roommate. I said, hey. I know what you did. You know what you did. I don't know why you did it. I feel like I've been very respectful. I feel like we have a good rapport. I don't know why you would engage in such a vicious attack against my Saturday. And he was like, what? I was like, you know what? Because he did know what. Because without me saying anything else, he was like, look. I put it back, but there was some in there. And I said, some crumbs? He's like, no. There was Cheerios in there. And then I thought, okay, maybe I've made a mistake. Maybe I have accused the wrong roommate, because I have more than one. And so then I walked to the kitchen with him, because the bag and the box were laying on the ground, because I obviously had to run to the bathroom and wash my eyes out of the very sharp cereal. And at this time, this is the, first of all, I need to go back. This is the second time this had happened. All right. And so first time was Cinnamon Toast Crunch. And then the next time it was Cheerios. That's my mistake. And so then he was like, there was some in there. And then we walk over and the bag and the box are strewn on the floor like a crime scene. Because I had to drop them immediately. I also got Cheerio in my eye. And I was like, there was nothing. And you know there was nothing because it was only crumbs. And now the crumbs are in me and on me. And then he's like, no, there was something left. I was like, what left? And he was like, there was one Cheerio. And I was like, now I know. You might as well be Osama bin Laden, because the fact that there was one Cheerio you chose to not eat and leave means you're out of your mind. And then I looked, and sure enough, there was one Cheerio on the ground. One Cheerio. A single Cheerio. Like a British person saying goodbye. Obviously, I didn't kill him. I'm here with you now, but I thought about it. I struggled a lot, you know, growing up, even into like early adulthood, with opinion of myself, with like body image and everything. It's very difficult sometimes for any young person to believe, if they don't already believe, that they are lovable or that they are good in just the way that they are. Basically, that they are enough. You're still working on yourself. There's still things you want to do with your life. You got your whole life ahead of you, but there's nothing extra you have to do to be worth anything, you know? And it's a hard thing to convince someone of who doesn't believe it. I wish more people believed it. If you saw yourself the way that the people that love you see you, what a beautiful world that would be, you know? And it's not as if love isn't poured into and on these people, showered with praise when something goes right. You know, not everyone gets it, but even for the people that do, they still struggle with body image, they still struggle with confidence. And then for the people who should have people that they look up to, maybe not giving them any of that, either being indifferent to them or actively hurting their confidence. Sometimes even when you have those positive forces in your life, you still don't accept it in a way that would help boost your confidence. You're like, you know, she loves me, but that's like my mom. She biased. And I know for me, I spent a ton of time trying to work on myself in different ways. Some things that I actually needed, some things that built me up, and some things that were maybe a little bit unnecessary, you know? I really struggled to look at myself in any positive way until I got really fit. Like in my head, really, really fit. I should look like, I saw other guys and I thought I should look like that. I should look like a version of that, at least, you know? And never mind that I'm looking at dudes who have been on their own journey or struggle with their own confidence, or maybe get a little extra help to look the way that they look. I don't know. And I was never trying to be like insanely huge. I joke about being like ripped and real big, but honestly, I don't have the frame for it. Truly, I'm not tall enough to be wide. Yeah, I mean, no matter how big my shoulders got, I'd start to just be in the way. Like, it looks good in the picture when you're flexing and you've got all the muscles and they're all defined and everything, but then practically in life, it does start to be a problem when you're trying to walk through a door. You don't want to be on a date and see a door and go, uh-oh. How do we handle this? You know, because the shoulders, the hips, they're all wide and muscular, but that door frame, oof, making all of them standard. I can't believe they're doing this. And then you're holding hands, you get to the door, and you're like, you first. You look like you being a gentleman, you know. Please go ahead. And then she walks through the door with ease, and you now have to figure something out. You're standing on the opposite side of the door, and you're like, oh, okay. As soon as you strained, you let her know this isn't going to be the life for her. I never wanted to be huge. I just wanted to be very, very fit, you know? And I worked on it with some success, with less success. But even when I started to work out, I realized that wasn't really the issue. Now I was going to the gym, and I was eating as much as possible, and I was gaining a little bit of weight. Not much. And I was like fighting to keep looking this certain way. And I finally accepted that, like, even if I got there, maybe I wouldn't be happy. And I even discovered that through other people who I knew were there. People who I wanted to look like that were in my life, you know? And they still had all the same problems I did. And I would go to the gym and I'd see people packed in there fighting to look a certain way so they could feel a certain way. And there is a bit of a cheat code. You could try to work on feeling the way without having to fully change your entire body. You know, you don't have to earn loving yourself through like straining and potentially hurting yourself, you know? Like there's some things that there's some things that go and be lifted in therapy, you know? Like it's just and but I remember I would see these workouts, and sometimes you see people get creative. There are a couple machines that are pretty straightforward. You sit down, you want to row, you put your feet here, and you pull. And that's the exercise right here. This is just what you do, and you do it for your back. You know, you work a little biceps in there too, and maybe if you're trying to work more of the back, you can lean forward a little, lean back a little with the pull, you know. I saw a guy sit down like normal and then put his feet in. And I'm not gonna lie, I stopped. I was like, this is about to be awesome. This man, I don't know what muscle it works out. It seems like it just ruins your joints, but he went, Just make sure it's clear. And it looked like it felt like it sounded. This man did 8 sets of 10. And I watched the whole thing. Oh, there was even a time where I went to the gym and, I was working out my legs differently. I was doing some lunges, I was doing some like split squats and everything. Not much weight, but just trying to make sure that I worked out my legs, because there are some people that in all that self-consciousness and all of that wanting to build up for yourself, your body and your image, they still only work on the glamour muscles. They forget the base. They forget their core sometimes, and they definitely forget their legs. And we've been told since we were children that the legs are important. We've been told in many different ways. We've been told by PE teachers. We've been told by coaches. We've been told by parents. We've been told by cartoons. There's an entire cartoon dedicated to people who skip leg day. Johnny Bravo was trying to warn us for our entire childhood how important leg day is. That's not a structure you want. You don't want to have more hair than... So I was working out my legs, and so I'm packed into this gym with a bunch of other people, which is, look, it's very frustrating because this gym was unfortunately affordable. So a lot of people were in there, and I was one of them. And I was hopeful, sometimes they sell memberships all year and they're counting on people not to go. The way the gym structures are built out, it's so that you get all of these people here, but they're signed up, they don't actually show up. And so a gym is able to run fairly efficiently as long as like 1/10 of the people who are members show up at a time. If everybody showed up that was a member of the gym, if everybody started to really decide to work on themselves, it would look a lot like TSA. Be very little movement. The only way to work out would be passing the weights, just you can have some. And while I was in the gym, packed in there with everybody else, there was a fire alarm that went off and some smoke that we saw. And, I didn't see any fire, but 2 out of 3 signs isn't bad. And so there were only 2 exits, which in retrospect was a horrible thing. Like you could only get out through the elevator, which you're not going to take during a fire, or the stairs. And so people started clamoring for the stairs. And this is where the real fitness test began. Because there were some people that were out in a flash, but then there were other people who had been working out. So they used all their fire running strength on the treadmill. So now they see that the fire alarm is going off and there's smoke, and they hop off the treadmill and they're like, oh no. there were other people, what I would assume people who were a bit out of their mind, that even treated the running out of the gym like a workout. There was one lady literally still looking at her watch going, and then there was me, who had been doing leg day. I tried to make my way out as fast as I could, but honestly, if I could brag on myself for a second, I had gone pretty hard. You know, I had a PR and everything, and a PR is what you don't want to have when it's time to run. Because I put the weight down, I saw everybody running out, and I made my way for the exit, and I could not stop jiggling. Like every... And yeah, I don't know if you've ever been in a situation where you have to evacuate for a fire, but nobody moves like there's a fire. Even as you're going downstairs to like get out of the building that has smoke in it that is like clearly, at least seemingly on fire, you still get people that do that thing that people do when they get to the top of the stairs, where now that they're clear, they just enjoy their day. If you've ever been in a walkway, there are people who can't wait. At the beginning of the stairs, they can't wait to get up there. And then as soon as they get up there, as soon as they are past the last step, they're like, oh, yeah. As if there's not a ton of people behind them. And so I'm noticing as I'm shaking and jiggling down the steps, how slow people are going down the steps. And so people do start to scream like, hey, hurry, move it, you know, fire. And then we get outside, and it was next to the door. One of the reasons everybody was slowing up was that same lady was out front near the door, just like next to the door, just run, like you still got the rest of the world to run. What are you waiting for? If you're waiting for your gym buddy, you left him. You left him to die. It's funny because I was watching the news and I saw this, can't really call it a debate, it was more of a screaming match. But it was on CNN. And on CNN, okay. Found the one person that works at CNN. That's bad. I've never heard anybody clap for CNN like that. Yeah. Why is that? Now, to be fair, though, look. To be fair, we don't know where our friend is from, and CNN abroad is actually substantially better. Like, when you watch CNN and you're in like France or something, it is actually like engaging programming. That we really are the only ones that do CNN the way we do CNN. As an example, when you travel the world, McDonald's is still fast food. We're the only ones that made it poison. You know, every other country, they just say what happened on the news. They just tell you. They're like, oh yeah, no, then these people came, and then the other people came, and then the first people left, and then the second group of people left. It's really mostly in the US where you watch news and it's like chaos in the streets. Like every news segment is cutting a promo for a horror movie. I was watching CNN and I saw where Jillian Michaels was on there in a debate that she seemed to have started, and they were talking about changes to the Smithsonian and how art and culture shifts between who has the power to dictate how the exhibits are written, who the exhibits are of, and everything. And Jillian Michaels was like, it's so unfair that slavery in this country only gets blamed on one race. Look, as outrageous as that is genuinely funny. Like, look, I'm not gonna tell anybody how to feel, but if you heard the words I said, that Jillian said, and you immediately got angry, I would ask you to take a step back. I'm not gonna tell you how to feel. You can be angry if you want to be angry, because it is a very short-sighted, ignorant thing to say, but that's precisely why it's so funny. It is absolutely hilarious. But the best way I can describe why this is funny is when I was a kid, I would be at home alone for about 3 hours. I would get off, from school. I would do practice, and then I would get home and I'd be alone for about 3 hours, right? So for 3 hours, I was the only person in the house. And one day, I was just walking through the house. I was eating something. I think I was like eating some Easy Mac and walking, not paying attention where I was going. And I knocked over this vase. And it was a vase that my mom loved, right? And so it smashes on the ground. And I genuinely didn't know what to do, because I was like, man, I'm going to be in a huge amount of trouble. I need to think of something. And in my head, I was like, what should I do? Should I call my mom now and be like, hey, when you get home, you will want to beat me. But I feel like if I tell you now and you're going to be like on shift for another half hour, and then just the concern, because I never call you, I'm hoping the concern that you have that I am calling you you'll be so relieved that I'm alive, that I'm not dead, you'll want to kill me less. You know, because having that coworker be like, it's your son, you know what I mean? And then have you be like, oh, what, my baby? And then I tell you what I'm about to tell you, and then you're like, oh, I'm just so glad you're still with us that I would hate to make it so you were not, right? That was one thought. Then the other thought was, look, I've given this whole having a family thing a good run. Maybe I dip right now. Maybe I leave home right now. And then the third thing, which is what I did do, was nothing. I went to my room and played some video games for what felt like might be the last time in a long time. And then my mom got home. I remember all the noises of her getting home. I remember the screen door, and then the lock, and then the lock turning. And then the deadbolt turning, and then her walking in, the screen door shutting behind her, her shutting the door, her locking the door, and the deadbolt. Again, every footstep from the front door to the kitchen, because she missed it at first. And then every footstep after the kitchen back into the living room, where I heard my name. And not my name the way you know it, my full legal name. You know what they put on your death certificate or before a parent kills you? My full legal name. And then I walk in, and my mom is like, what happened? What is this? And then I said, oh, you just gonna blame it on me? Wow, wow. Maybe I was in there playing video games the entire time. Maybe somebody broke it and left. Maybe I'm lucky to be alive right now. You're just gonna immediately blame me because I was the only one here. You're just gonna blame me because it looks like it was me. And that's kind of what Jillian Michaels was doing with the whole, like... Yeah, that's kind of what she was doing. Can't believe you would just blame it on one race of people. And it's so funny too, because when it comes to history like that, there are always these bad actors that try to pull the thinnest straw man out of the woodwork. You know, there'll always be that person. There was a guy, I don't actually remember his name, and this is before slavery in the U.S. was more based on race and before more people were shipped to the U.S. There was a dude that I've read about that apparently was of African descent, and he came over and he had about 2 or 3 slaves, and one of those slaves was seemingly of the Caucasian persuasion. And whether this thing is true or a myth, I've heard it my entire life when referencing slavery, that there was one black guy who had a white slave. And I'm like, look, even if that's true, that's not what it's known for. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. You're just picking and choosing how you present an entire idea. And it makes sense to me that someone like Jillian Michaels would say something like this. She is from a reality TV show. She's known for the show The Biggest Loser. Yeah, that's who she is, that coach from The Biggest Loser. You know, the nice one. The Biggest Loser was a show, I don't think it's still on the air anymore, so if you're not familiar with the show, it was a show where they would bring on people who were overweight, struggling with image and everything, and they would help them lose weight by making them do slavery. So I saw this video for this robot butler. There's a robot butler that you can buy and bring into your home if you've never watched a sci-fi film. Do you know what I mean? Like, if you just avoided all of them, if it's just not your genre, but you're like, ooh, a whole robot. Yeah, let's get him in here. Give him access to all the knives. No, you can. You can do it now. You can order one. It's thousands of dollars. It's very expensive. You could get a robot in your home, do a bunch of like small tasks, chores, things you don't feel like doing. And it's just, you know, it's a whole, it's a whole robot with like legs, arms, hands. They did everything. I don't know if they did toes, but it walks, and it just, the thing that freaks me out about this thing is that in the development along the way, I'm not saying every single company that develops every robot does the same thing, but you've seen the videos. Some of these videos have gone viral because every time they get closer to building a robot that has like perfect balance or is more, is either stronger or more adept at a task. Every time they do something like that, it goes viral. We see it. They cover it on like the morning news and stuff. And I just know that to get robots to this point where this robot is at now, that they don't just fall over, it took a long time. You used to see these robots where they, tip. That's not fast enough. You're not going to get your stuff in a timely manner. You need them taking whole steps, and they take whole steps, but they didn't have good foot placement, so then they tip into the middle, they fall. And so then we started making ones where the whole purpose is that they can't fall, and the way we tested if they could fall or not was we did kick them. We did almost exclusively kick them. And not little taps either. Not like a little, here's a little trip for it. You would see people in the video walk up to the robot like, wow! And the only reason you didn't feel worse for the robot is it didn't have a face. This thing, it looked very sad, and there was one, look, maybe I'm in my head about this. I swear when I was watching, because you know that dog they made like a dog first that couldn't fall. And I was like, so you just go kick a dog. I know it's a robot dog, but like still, you kick this dog and the dog got better and better at not falling, better and better at catching itself and everything, to the point where it got to where it would not fall. It couldn't fall, right? But beyond not being able to fall, they still, they got to run tests, and the tests were as sophisticated as bow, right? But there was this one time this dude ran up, kicked the robot dog, and the robot dog stumbled. And it's a millisecond. It's so short that I had to watch this video 3,000 times to make sure I actually saw what I saw. But like, and then for a split second, you saw it think about going like, but it didn't do it. It didn't do it. And I was like, yeah, but you've been kicking it for a year and a half. You kicked its brother, you kicked its stepdad, like you kicked. And so now you take all that kicking history and you go ahead and put that into a robot in the home that can regular walk. I don't know how tall they are, but you get a robot in your home that's taller than you a fool. Okay? I'm gonna tell you right now, if you gotta look up at your robot, you out your mind. If you yelling at your robot, I know you out of your mind if you over here, hey! That's insane. Because we also not polite. We've been taught to not be polite to the robot. That's been baked in now. I don't even know if you could, it would feel weird for you to be polite if you were polite. You know millions and millions of people every day say, hey Alexa, and you know what they don't say? Please. You want to know how I know that? First Alexa experience I had, I didn't like it. Because it was in the house, but I didn't know where it was. So I was like, all right, so you just inviting the ghosts in then. You way too comfortable with ghosts, because sooner or later, because you don't know if your house haunted. So now you over here talking to Alexa all the time. Then one day Alexa voice a little raspy. You don't even clock it. Now you in a whole murder house with a bad history, and you don't even. You say, oh, this is malfunction, and you got a whole poltergeist going on, and you over here calling Amazon. And so then, I go over to my friend's house, and my friend's like, oh, hey, we got this new thing. If you want to play some music, just say, hey, Alexa, play whatever. And I was like, hey, I just didn't want to do it. And he was like, no, go ahead, give it a try. I was like, all right. Hey, Alexa, play Kendrick, please. And he was like, why did you say please like that? I was like, I don't know. It's weird. Like, this is weird. This doesn't feel weird to you? And he's like, no, it's not weird. It's future. I was like, all right, The future's uncomfortable. You know what I mean? I just don't think that's good practice for our interactions person to person. That every day you make demands of something without any courtesy, without any politeness, and then we wonder why people are like rude. You know what I mean? It's like more and more you're like, you get to the point where you're dealing with so much, whatever it is, you're dealing with so much AI, you're dealing with so many robots, and you start treating people like AI, like robots, like people who just sort of serve a function. You know, it's like I remember, you know, I was ordering some food, and they do this thing now just to make sure that you got your food when you do, like, I think like everybody does, I think like Uber Eats, Grubhub, I think everybody does it now, where when they want it at the door. When someone says, I want it handed to me at the door, they have to take a picture, right? So then they take the picture, and it's usually just of the receipt of the bag, right? But then, you know, he's like, can't take a picture. I didn't know about this new policy. Like, I didn't know. And I'm not like, I want y'all to know, I don't think I'm like world famous or something, but he asked me if he wanted to pick, like, can I take a picture? And I was like, oh yeah, sure. And so then I got next to him. And I felt so bad for him because he like truly didn't know what to do, because he was like, oh, like, I guess he didn't want to correct me. I guess he didn't want to be like, no, please stand away from me. I'm just gonna take a picture of you. Because it also does sound a little weird to be like, hey, I'm gonna take a picture of you, be still. Like, that is a little uncomfortable. But then I had already walked out the door, and I'm side to side with him, waiting for him to lift the phone. And then this sweet man, just to spare my feelings, turned it on selfie mode. And goes, can you lift the bag up for the picture? I felt very, yeah. But that is what's happening, is that we're getting to this place where most of our interactions are like so transactional, down to the point of just what the service is, that it doesn't feel like we're having a relationship with a person, even a person who's like doing you a service. So then, of course, maybe in people's minds, the next step would be for a robot to be there. Do you know what I mean? Like, they're doing it with Uber already. Uber switching to these driverless cars, these like Waymos, and it's like, to a certain degree, why wouldn't you? Because people get in their Uber and they don't want to talk to the driver. Maybe the driver doesn't want to talk to them either, and it's just okay. It's almost a similar experience, you know? It's just the butler thing is so much more off-putting. Because it is, okay, it's too, I don't know, like, why'd they have to give it a regular body? That's uncomfortable. Do you know what I mean? Like, it doesn't even have like a, like, if it had looked like a Power Ranger, then maybe, because like, that's still a little too much like regular body, but just it having a regular body is just it is uncomfortable. And it comes in 3 colors. Comes in 3 colors. It comes in like tan, silver, and black. And like a deep black, like an onyx. It comes very black. That's not uncomfortable for anybody? That you can now buy a black? That feels awkward. Imagine you buy one of these Neo things, you buy one of these robots. And let's say it's doing all the tasks. Let's say it's really good. And then you invite one of your black friends over. And it's over here setting the table, not speaking. What are we doing? You could have picked silver. You could have had silver. Silver was an option the entire time. And you were like, no, but I would like black. I would actually enjoy it more. Didn't make white. Didn't even make like a fuchsia. And I'm sure you can trace the thinking down to like how people even like their phones. Like people, like that's like a thing with iPhone, like tan, silver, black, right? But this is different. This feels very different. This feel like when you see it, especially, especially you over here giving orders, not saying please, just. It's a bad look. And they do all this testing. You know what I mean? They do all this. I love product promotion for tech because then the people who made the tech usually want to do the product promotion. That's like a big thing that comes from, fair enough, the world of tech, but mainly like Steve Jobs. Like Steve Jobs is who we look back and we see, wow, the iPhone revolutionized social. Like social wasn't even really a thing and couldn't really become a thing without the way we use our phone. Like there were just these moments when he held up like an iPod, when he held up an iPhone, that you look back at as like, wow, these are like pivotal moments. And because these people are trying to be like him, even if they're not trying to be exactly like him, they also want those pivotal moments for their career. They want to look back and be enough of a trendsetter and be enough of like a social beacon in tech, in communication, that you can look back at their clip and they held something up or they stood next to something and then it changed the world. Like, I understand why that's enticing, but at the same time, you're not great talking to people. That's almost across the board. We've seen, you remember when Zuckerberg was all in on the metaverse, when he was pouring billions of dollars. The metaverse was going to be the future. The metaverse was going to be how we worked, how we played. It was going to be how we visited people and communicated. There was a vision for the metaverse. He spent billions and billions of dollars pouring it into the metaverse, even though it wasn't profitable, even though people weren't integrating it into their lives fast enough for what they were projecting as like people who had people to answer to, like shareholders to answer to and stuff like that. Like, he still went all in, and then he did that product rollout. Showing, and look. He tried. Mark Zuckerberg, if you're not aware, does do an imitation of like a person you would talk to. Like, it's almost good. He does as good of an imitation of like a regular person as he can, and then he tried to do that for the rollout. So the day came. He was going to showcase the metaverse, the way of the future, right? And he comes out and he does his best imitation of like a guy. You saw it. You can go back and watch it. He's like, hey, everyone. It's nice to be here today with you. I want to introduce you to the metaverse, and what better way than meeting the version of you that would be in the metaverse? Come on out, Mark. And then the metaverse like avatar of Mark Zuckerberg walks up and does a way better imitation of a guy. Because he's like, come on out, Mark. And then a Zuckerberg dressed exactly like him does walk up and go, how's it going? It's like, why don't you say hello to everyone? And you saw Metamark be like, what are you doing? You're making us look bad right now. Because these things are supposed to be the future, and you look at how we've been working our way up to this point. Because we're not talking about like a Roomba. You know, a Roomba. That felt like what future robots should be. Do you know what I mean? Just like doing the function. It's small, it gets into the little space. Every once in a while it like runs into the wall hard enough that you gotta just redirect it. Do you know what I mean? Like you feel like, okay, if your Roomba ever really like tried to square up. Do you know what I mean? Like if your Roomba was ever really feeling froggy one day and got some attitude with you could be like, okay, all right. Problem solved. I don't know why you built this robot, this full-on robot butler with knuckles. Full knuckles. Knuckles and like, okay. It's not like, I saw the back of the robot. And it's not, you remember action figures when you were a kid and how they were just sort of flat and the leg could just like perfectly go up and then down and then like perfectly up and then down. I don't know what the function is because once again, I'm not an engineer. I don't work in tech. I don't act like I'm smarter than any of these people. All right. All these people came together, made this robot. Look, you can make a robot. I can't make a robot. But turned around, this robot is like, it's not at a BBL level, but like this robot is like fully caked up. Like it has cheeks. It has cheeks that are like visible, but like that's just the robot. You know what I mean? Like it's not like it has cheeks and it's like wearing clothes. Like it's just the robot, which means y'all made the cheeks. Somebody made cheeks. That doesn't feel wild to anybody else that somebody made cheeks specifically. And then when they build a product like this, when you have a robot, when it's time to you building a robot, right? Everybody's got to have something to do. Because you want to do everything, right? You want to walk, and you want to not fall over or bump into walls. Okay, get the kicking guy. Kicking guy is going to make sure that your robot doesn't just fall over. He's going to kick it 10,000 times. Really make a friend. And then you're going to need somebody on head duty to make sure it like is going forward, not drooping, whatever. You got to get somebody on neck, make sure it turns around and stuff. It just makes me wonder if this robot make me wonder if there was just somebody that they didn't trust with the math. They didn't trust with the math, so that they were like, hey, we'll let you design whatever part you want. And he got all excited and he came in on Monday. And he's like, I got perfect right here. And I guess nobody wanted to hurt his feelings. Over there in the boardroom talking about, I guess it's padding technically if it ever does fall, like in a disaster. And so then they set this prototype out with like a real butt. Rest of it does not look real at all, by the way. This is crazy. This is crazy because then they have the person, whenever they do any product rollout, they do like a Q&A, or they do a test in front of an audience, or if it's like a pre-tape thing, they'll have somebody there asking questions that obviously the public would ask. And and so this person's asking questions like, how strong is it? And it's like, oh, it's very strong. It has all of this like power per square inch, however they measure it, right? And they gave it, like, I don't know, was it a chestnut or a walnut or something like that? But they were like, can you go ahead and break this? Because, you know, once again, if you ever watch a sci-fi movie, that should be dust immediately. That should be, the robot should be able to be like, you know? And so they, you know, went ahead and gave the robot this nut to break. And the robot was like, and I didn't see it break it. I was like, all right, that actually puts me at a little bit of ease. Like, genuinely it does. It's like, okay, you know, I thought for it to have fingers, it has palms, it has fingers, knuckles. It's nice to know that if the robot tried to punch you, it's gonna be like, you know what I mean? Like, it's kind of nice to know this robot can only kill you if you already dying. Do you know what I mean? Like, it could squeeze a pillow just enough. Because to a certain degree, this is supposed to be the future, right? The future is supposed to be as convenient as possible. Absolute convenience, so you get your time back, and so your life won't be as hard. Here's the thing, though. Like, I'm gonna stay on this thing probably for years, because products like this keep coming out. This is my thing. If you've ever met somebody who's had a very easy life, very convenient life, that has never really been through anything, has never had like an obstacle in their way, they almost always, without a doubt, suck. Like really bad. Like these are the worst people in the world. Like, when you meet them, you're like, that's terrible. That's terrible. And you find out because you're always there when the first thing that has ever happened to them happens to them. The first time anything has ever happened to them, it happens in front of you. And then you're like, all right, well, let's figure it out, because you've been through things. This doesn't even register for you. This is like a 5 for them on the Richter scale of an earthquake, and their life is over. You know what I mean? They got a flat tire. And life is over. They're not in the city right now, and they have a flat tire. What should they do? I guess they have to die here. See, they'd never really been through anything. And anything that almost happened to them, they got to ask their parents to take care of it, and their parents took care of it. Or they just played dumb until somebody else did something about it. And now, in this moment, what a terrible career-ending day. You got a flat tire. What are you gonna do? What's the plan here? And they panic. they want to call their parents to do something about it, but their parents are, yeah, I mean, their parents are, like, you know, they want to call their parents, but they can't because their parents are vacationing in Greece. And so it's like, they might not even have service on the boat. Like, it's just, what am I gonna do? Never been through anything in their entire life. What am I gonna do? They look to you. And they're like, this has never happened before. This is the worst thing that's ever happened. We're on our way to vacation and catch a flat tire. What are we gonna do? And you're like, oh, do you have a spare? And you hear them say, is that what that is back there? I knew it came with the car, but I expected it to just turn on one day or something. This has been back there not being a wheel this entire time. You know, and if they didn't have you there, I don't know what they would do. And so we want these lives of convenience. We want these lives where everything is out of our way, where nothing that we don't want to do takes up any time. But then what kind of person does that make you? I'm not saying it's fun to do all your chores or wait in line, but it is a human experience. This is your life, you know? Sometimes there are things that genuinely suck. I've been at the airport before for 36 hours. There was one time I was at the airport and I couldn't get out, and then here's the thing, if I decided to live there, I could have left. But I have been kept on such a Ferris wheel of mistakes, canceled flights, delayed flights, and just general annoying small tragedies that I just ended up staying in the airport. I almost slept at that airport twice, right? But at the same time, I had a lot of good experiences, even in that time, even when I was waiting. Turns out that airport did have pretty good food, so I ate very well for the few meals I could muster. Already a bathroom there. I can get adventurous. I'm just saying, sometimes people at airports will sell you like tiny spicy chicken or something like that, and you're like, all right, I'll just have it, not realize it, like, it is spicy, and there is a bathroom on the plane, but like, traveling spicy hit different, you know what I mean? Like, it just, if you traveling spicy, it's doing something to your life you're not ready for. There's nothing like being in a car and you traveling spicy. And now you looking at exits. Every exit, you're like, no, you know when you traveling spicy, you gotta breathe it out. No, traveling spicy is very dangerous. I was able to do it. But that's the thing, is it, when things are happening that are inconvenient or even terrible, and they're happening, they're part of your life. You can either just hate your life, or you could be like, this is my life for a little while. Anyone who always wants, this is gonna sound harsh, but just hear me out. Because I have friends who every single inconvenience, they just want to be over already. And I'm like, okay, but if you tried to speed run every single thing that ever happened that was not convenient, do you know how little life you would have? Your life would be over so quickly. Your life would be over if you were like, oh, I just want to get out of this conversation. I just want to get out of this. I just want to get out of this line. I just want to get out of this airport. I just want to see. And you're missing your entire life. Oh, I just want to get out of this conversation. What if they about to say something dope? You know what I mean? What if they're about to say something very cool? What if they're about to say, wow, you're such a good listener. Almost nobody listens to my stories. You want to chill at my vacation house? What if that was just about to happen? And now you can cut the thing short just because they were going on and on about whales. This is your life, you know? All of it is precious, even the inconvenient parts. Because that's the thing, that's all they can really sell you. They can sell you a little less inconvenience. They can't sell you ending your pain. They cannot sell you ending your loneliness. All of the things that matter, all the real things that are real struggles that people go through that actually end up making them very interesting people that you would want to get to know and spend time with. None of these tech people can cure that anyway. So then they're trying to sell you the little bit of convenience that maybe will make you feel like, oh, if I got all this time back. What does time back even mean? What does time back really mean? If you were at your home washing dishes, maybe, look, nobody likes washing dishes. I don't know if anybody likes washing dishes. It's old food, it's kind of nasty. You're like, what did I even have? What did I eat that sticks to the bowl like this? Because whatever that is in me. Is it sticking to me the way it's sticking to the bowl? That's crazy. I don't know if I'll ever get rid of this. If I can't get rid of the stain, then, ooh, my insides are stained right now. Sure. But I think it is such an important practice to appreciate all of these moments in your life. So often, we're trying to be distracted from the thing that if we focused on, we might enjoy. Because I'm not saying all of a sudden you'll love washing the dishes, but I think while you're washing the dishes and while you're sitting there thinking, maybe thinking about your day, maybe thinking about nothing, maybe thinking about the dishes, you could come potentially to an appreciation of the fact that you have a home. You have a home where you can cook your meals. You have dishes. You have dishes that you can use to serve your family, food that you worked for, that maybe something good can come of it, you know? Because this robot, I don't know, it's so expensive. It's so crazy expensive. Like, it's so much money. Why don't you just hire a person? You could hire a person. If you have robot money and you've never seen any sci-fi, still hire a person. You could watch movies with your butler. You could make that one of the jobs. I need you to do windows, floors, and hang out. Like, I do need a friend. I've been very lonely. It's incredibly important to not take for granted all those things that, even though they're inconvenient, they're a part of your life, you know? I've made friends doing things I didn't want to do. Like, there were moments where I was like, oh, this thing is taking up my time, or maybe I'm delayed. You know, sometimes you get delayed, whether it's the train, it's the airport, you're waiting on a bus, you get delayed. And you don't want to be delayed. You want to get where you're going. That's why you want to go there. I understand. But everyone's delayed. It's the same problem everyone has. And everyone having the same problem is one of the fastest ways to build community. You know? Because now everybody is upset that you're delayed. And there's always that one person that isn't traveling with anyone. So they kick it off for everybody. Oh! I'm sure they seem upset. They seem upset. But I think they're having this outburst because they don't have anybody to turn to be like, can you believe? So then they turn to you. Can you believe? They turned to me and they were like, can you believe? And I was like, no, I do believe. Like, I don't think they would do it as a prank. Like, I do believe them when they say it's not here yet, because I also looked out the window and it's not here yet. And I don't think they like hide in it. You know what I mean? Like, it'd be a very bad prank to be like, we gonna tell them the flight not coming. You know how people love that, right? Like, that's one of my favorite things. I can't believe they didn't do that on Punk'd. I can't believe that Ashton Kutcher didn't delay a whole flight just so that people could be like, and then. No, it's fine. It's fine. It'll be okay. It'll be all right. And she was like, yeah, maybe if it gets here, it'll be all right. But it'll be all right. I was like, well, what is it? What's wrong? What's wrong? She's like, I have somewhere to be. I'm supposed to meet my grandbaby. I'm supposed to meet my grandbaby. All right? And immediately I had more empathy for where she was coming from, because she wasn't just upset the flight was delayed because she likes being a problem. She is a grandbaby to me. I've never had a grandbaby to meet, but I imagine if I did, I would be in a hurry. I have a grandbaby to me. I was like, oh, really? You have a grandbaby? How old? And she's like, she was born 3 days ago. I was like, wow. 3 days ago, okay. It does sound like you got plenty of time to get over there, because 3 is, you know what I mean? Like, I'm just saying, like, she knew, like that. Do you know what I mean? Like, she got a whole life ahead of her, and I think it'll be fine, you know. I was like, do you have any pictures? And she was like, oh, do I have pictures? And then she showed me pictures of her brand new grandbaby, and it was incredibly sweet. We just sat there at the gate. I didn't even mention to her that I had been at this airport for 32 hours. And she was showing me pictures of her grandbaby. It was incredible. I just think that a lot of things could be missed out on, you know, with this robot, because even the duties, even the stuff that it's supposed to do, that's stuff that would be great to do with your people. You want this thing to cook for you or whatever? Why don't you invite your friends over? You have a meal together. That's a memory. Now you're not like laying in front of the TV waiting for this robot to finish. A robot, by the way, that if it came down to some nuts in the dish, because even in the product rollout, they had this, I guess they had this journalist ask the questions we would ask. And so one of the questions was, well, how do I know, you know, you say this robot can lift whatever, like 150 pounds over its head. How do I know that it's not going to kill me in my sleep? If you're worried that your black robot is gonna kill you in your sleep, do you know? I'll tell you right now. I'm not a scientist. I'm not into tech like that. I'm not an engineer. I don't. The number one way to not have your black robot kill you in your sleep is to not have a black robot in your house at all. I don't know if y'all saw this demure thing that's taken off. Why are y'all groaning? Oh my God. In case you don't know what it is, in case you haven't been alive for the past couple weeks, demure is this one TikTok started this whole thing. It's not like a whole group of people. It's not like somebody super famous already said something. There's this one TikTok by this creator named Jules LeBron that was just sort of getting ready for work and said, you know, Look at how I'm dressed. Very demure, very mindful. And demure and mindful have like really taken off. They've really become this big thing. People are talking about how I'm demure, I'm mindful and everything. People have made all these responses. TikToks do it and stuff. But basically, she was just saying like, look at how I'm dressed, keeping it chill, a little bit low key and everything. And by and large, everything that I've seen that's come from it has been pretty positive. I know I'm not on the whole internet, but like everything I've seen is nice, which is kind of cool because usually when it comes to like TikTok as a movement or like challenges or like anything popular, it's usually not as positive. Most TikTok challenges or trends are mostly like, hey, y'all, watch me punch my grandma in the back of the head. It's usually something that causes harm to, you or someone else for everyone's entertainment. And we watch all the time. It's like, hey, y'all, watch me while I call in this bomb threat to the Vatican. Like there was one thing, I don't even know, it got so bad that they would talk about TikTok trends happening that I don't even think were happening, but they were believable because all the stuff that really was happening. Like, I'm pretty sure there was one where maybe I'm falling for like a trick, but I'm pretty sure there was one TikTok trend where people just kept blowing up the urinals at the boys' bathrooms in their high schools. And I was like, man, maybe they really are lost as a generation. You know what I mean? So then you see something like demure, and it really kills the whole. The sort of generational gaps that we have, it's hard to keep pushing them away when they're being all nice and stuff. You see these young Gen Alpha, Gen Z just being sweet. You almost don't know how to react. You know what I mean? It starts raining. Maybe you're a boomer, and then out of nowhere, this young person comes up being very demure. Pops an umbrella right over your rainy head. You just standing there like, Fox News did not prepare me for this. I don't know what to do. Thank you, I guess. This is weird. You sure you don't want to punch me in the back of the head and film it or something? Like, no, it's just nice to see like a trend that's at least like feeling mildly positive as it spreads, because a lot of them start positive and then quickly turn. And I haven't seen this one turn yet, because the whole definition of demure is like modest, shy. Mindfulness, obviously self-explanatory, being mindful and stuff. Because the other TikToks I've seen Jules make have also fascinated me, because, she'll do little stuff like she brought donuts to the hotel staff that took care of her at the end of her stay. And she was like, this is being demure. And I'm like, oh, okay, I guess we redefining it. I had no idea. I thought, that's cool. I'm saying because I'm happy about it, I think that's really awesome. Because for a long time, I didn't know if like a good trend could catch on. We like deep down, whether you like it because you like it or you like it because you love to hate it, we like watching the bad stuff. Do you know what I mean? Like Jackass would have never been a franchise if we didn't love the idea of a guy just standing there and then his friend running up behind him and kicking him in the balls. Like that's, we had Jackass when we were little, and that just spawned into like a different now everybody can do Jackass. Everybody was doing Jackass the whole time, by the way. It's just when we filmed it, it sort of just sat at home. Like they just became home movies. There wasn't an internet to push it out to the rest of the world with, And so I don't know. I mean, I hope for those that enjoy it, it continues. I hope it doesn't, morph into a different thing, because I feel like the internet's very good at that. The internet's very good at like taking something, because it's so decentralized, like taking something that starts out very good and then morphing it to a place where, maybe 5 years from now, there's just a kid that runs up and punches his grandma in the back of the head and goes, demure! Nah, but I hope it doesn't happen. I took an improv class when I lived in Chicago with a kid who was Buddhist, right? And he was Buddhist in a way that was very sincere. He wasn't like that. You know how sometimes when you go off to college or something and you meet someone who's like hardcore Buddhist, but they're like a white dude with dreads that's always trying to bang, you know what I mean? It's like, I'm like, no, I don't know if you following really. I think that you just wear the beads. I think you're disingenuous. You're just trying to use it to lower some walls, you know what I mean? How could I be bad? I summered into bed. You know what I mean? Kind of has those vibes. But my friend who I met is the person that truly fascinated me because he was someone who had a lot of joy and a sincere joy. Not like, you know how there are people that you meet sometimes that are full of joy, but you can tell the joy is because everything's going right now. It's very circumstantial joy, right? It's like lottery winning joy, where it's like, guys, of course. He had a nice joy that wasn't swayed one way or the other by like little things happening, you know? Because the circumstantial joy I'm talking about, it gets knocked over with a feather, right? That same person that's so joyful one day, you see them the next day, they're like, get the hell out of my way! Like it's... And that's also normal. That's part of being human, right? Like it's not normal to be happy all the time. If someone is, watch them. Do you know what I mean? Like if somebody's happy all the time, they need to be on a list. They're hiding something, right? But he had a very, very sweet and sincere joy that was calm, kind of quiet, a little bit to himself, but happy to talk to anybody, happy to engage with anybody and everything. And I think that because of who he was as a person, it sort of fascinated me what his philosophy was for life, because he didn't teach Buddhism, and he didn't think of Buddhism as a religion. He thought of it more as a sort of philosophy, right? It was his answer to the psychology of his mind. And we were talking one day because I was just sort of asking him how he came to it and everything, because he was white. And regular haircut though, like regular haircut. But you know, we were just chatting, and he was explaining, at least to the best of his understanding, the four noble truths to me, right? Because the first noble truth is that there is suffering in the world. And that's an undeniable thing, you know? We all suffer in different ways for different amounts of time, you know? Some suffering is physical. Like when you wake up in the night and you're thirsty. And you swear you know you're home. But you're walking in the dark because you don't want to wake yourself up too much with the light. And you don't sleep with shoes on. So your feet, your toes are at their most vulnerable. You get up and you're walking around, and in the kitchen, you get a little bit of that fridge light. You almost squint a little bit. That's too much. You grab your water, you pour it in your glass, take some sips, and now you got to make your way back. Halfway tired, in the dark, right? And as you're walking, maybe you're a parent. And maybe even though you know this home like the back of your hand, you don't know that there's a Lego waiting. There's a Lego waiting to be stepped on, right? There's a skateboard near some steps waiting to take you out, to put you on your ass, right? Or maybe you don't have kids. Maybe you're a bachelor. Maybe you're just living on your own as a single person, but you make your way back, and for some reason, tonight, there's just a little bit of extra width to that bed frame. And so you get close to the bed and you get ready to hop in, and then and so you suffer. No. But a lot of suffering isn't physical. A lot of suffering, genuinely is coming from a mental place. You either suffer in what you think is going to be the future, or you suffer over the past as it happened. Those things that happen that are very, very embarrassing. Maybe you hold on to a mistake that you made too tight. In your mind's eye, it's the only thing that you can focus on. And most of the time, you can shut it out. It's probably whatever you're thinking about right now. But most of the day, you're pretty good at shutting it out. But then you have a quiet moment, like in the shower. And while you're in the shower, your brain just goes, remember that time? You remember that time that everybody was like, wouldn't it be fun if we jumped in the pool, and then you just jumped in the pool, but then the other person was like, oh, I was never going to jump in the pool. So then you were just out here in the pool by yourself, and you can't swim. So then you were hoping that everybody jumping in would just mean that everyone floated a little bit higher or something. And so now you're like fighting to get to the top of the water, and then people, you can hear them be like, is he drowning? It was like a question, because you flailing so hard that everyone's like, is he drowning? And then you're like, what? These are supposed to be my friends. Why aren't they jumping in the water and help me? Do we not want to jump in the water so bad? We just want to talk about jumping in the water that no one's going to come save me right now. And so you're flailing, and then finally you just hear somebody at the party, one of your friends say, yo, stand up. And then you realize you were on the shallow end of the pool. So there's a suffering. And then, there's a suffering for the things that you think are going to happen in the future, right? Things that haven't even happened yet. Usually, it's us, because of our imagination. We're one of the only, look, this is us saying it, but as far as scientists know, we are one of the only species that has real imagination in that way. So we're some of the only things on planet Earth suffering in that particular way, right? Most things are living in the moment, right? But we're the only ones putting things onto the future that haven't even happened yet. Like, let's say you're in a relationship. And you love this person, but y'all fight from time to time. And you fight, but you love each other, and maybe it's been a long time. You've been together for a long time, so you know them. You know them deeply. You know them in a fundamental way where no one else knows them, right? So then sometimes when something happens, you can tell we're probably going to have a fight. We're probably going to have a fight because I know them, and I know what happened, and I know how they react to things. I know how I react to things, so we're probably going to have an argument, right? So then maybe you're driving home, maybe you're taking the train, maybe you're on the bus, but wherever you are, because you know there's about to be a fight, you decide to have the first fight. The first fight is in your head because you're practicing, right? The first fight is you just sort of shadow boxing, right? You do it too. That's not my fault, right? You just... And so the first fight, maybe things don't go so well. Maybe the first fight, because you have to imagine the whole thing, you imagine them reacting a little harsher than they might even react. Because you don't know, because you haven't been there yet. It's in the future. It hasn't happened. You have to make this thing up. But now you're suffering because you're imagining that they said something to you that was a bit too far. And they always do this. And I can't stand when you do this, right? You always, in my head, take things too far before I have the conversation with you, right? And so you get home and you already mad. You already pissed off because in your mind, you lost the first fight, right? So now when we have the first fight, I'm remembering the first fight. So now I got to get my get back from losing that first fight because they had such good logic in my head when I was fighting them before that I came ready. I'm already ready to plug up all the holes in my own argument, right? And so then, you start fighting, and then you start the fight by being like, why are you yelling? And then you realize you're yelling, and you're like, why am I yelling right now? And it's because you had a fight already. You had suffering you didn't even need to have. There was no reason, right? And then there's the second noble truth. The second noble truth is that there is a cause to the suffering. People, we don't just have to suffer endlessly for no reason, right? There is a cause. This is where the concept of karma comes from and everything. Because if you understand the suffering and you understand the cause, you can end it, right? It can be over, you know? Like I have a friend who I love very much. And he has a lot of love to give, but he keeps, because he can't understand the cause, he keeps getting his heart broken. Because he keeps, okay. He keeps getting his heart broken because he keeps trying. It's gonna sound however it sounds, but he keeps trying to save young ladies who do not like him, but do enjoy dinner, right? Do you know what I mean? Like at a certain amount of dates, I'm like, yeah, dog, I think if she liked you, she would call you sometimes. Like you know, because he's a lover, but it's I don't know if he's thinking about why he keeps feeling this way. And if it keeps happening, if the same thing keeps happening with different people who don't know each other, maybe there's a cause. And maybe the cause is something you're doing. Maybe the suffering can end. Maybe. Or maybe he's just real good at paying for dinner. I have no idea. But it seems like when I talk to him, like, hey, it doesn't have to be like this, right? And then there's a third noble truth. Third noble truth is that you can end the suffering. It can't, it doesn't have to go forever, right? Like the second one is that there's a cause, and the third one is that there will be an end, right? It doesn't have to go on forever. You can release yourself out of this sort of cycle. And then the fourth one is that there's a path. There's a path for you, a way to end the suffering, right? Which I think is great. I think that there's an answer at the end. There's a lot of religions out there that just tell you, like, it's pretty bad. And it will get worse. You know? There are some Buddhist monks, right? There's some Buddhist monks in Thailand. And they're in a specific region, so I don't want you to think this is all of the Buddhist monks. But these particular Buddhist monks in this particular region of Thailand keep getting into trouble for not being very good monks. Because when you think of a monk, it's unfair, but you think of a monk the same way you think of a nun. You think of someone who has dedicated their entire life, their finances, their physical self, their spiritual well-being to the cause of whatever religion or philosophy that they've taken up, right? And that doesn't make them perfect, you know? But it does make them seem like someone who is going to be holy or be grounded, you know, whatever the thing is, right? And these monks are pretty rock and roll. These monks are going ham, okay? These monks are having such wild scandals. Like there was one temple, right, where all the monks in that temple got busted by the police for doing meth, right? And it's hard to conceptualize a methy monk, right? Because you usually think of them as calm and still, but you can't be on meth. You know, I've never seen someone do meth and then calm down, right? That's not part of it, you know. I can only imagine what that one monk who did the meth first must have told the others. You know, just does a little meth and it's like, y'all, if we do this, we ain't got to do all that sitting. Like this is about to hit, okay? You know? There was another scandal where there were some monks who basically, I say got in trouble, I think they got arrested for stealing millions of dollars in donations from people who were basically donating to, I guess, the monastery, but just generally, the same way you donate to like any church or anything like that. And that one baffled me because I thought one of the whole principles of Buddhism was like, guys, I don't need anything. Like, it's me trying to better myself, trying to get better, trying to get to the next level and everything. So to give the monks millions of dollars is asking for trouble. Like, yeah, I mean, to give the monks a rapper level of money and then not expect them to live that rapper lifestyle feels like an unnecessary temptation, okay? You know, like, I'm pretty low key, but if you gave me around $8 million, I might go a little wild for a day or two. You know what I mean? And it's tough. It's tough when you're a monk and then you try balling out because you in the same clothes. Do you know what I mean? Like, when you roll up to a strip club, everybody know you're not supposed to be there. Like, you throwing it up and making it rain, and then everybody's like, where's it even coming from? Does the robe have pockets? You know? There have even been some monks that got in trouble for straight up violence, right? Which is terrible and terrifying. But I will say, as a monk, if somebody messing with you, you do kind of have the element of surprise. Because they're sure nothing's gonna happen, right? Like, you just poking a monk and poking a monk and poking a monk, and then they just hit you with that blood owl. You know? And I guess it's just wild that for such I'll call it a religion or a lifestyle just for the sake of the argument, but like for such a calm, peaceful, to yourself religion of bringing yourself to the best level that you can, building an understanding of yourself and the people around you, and trying to spread good in the world. It's wild to me that this section of Buddhist monks in Thailand, all they really need is Jules LeBron to teach them how to be demure, to teach them how to be mindful, you know what I mean? You imagine that? You imagine this. There's a monk that's just throwing out money at the strip club and everything, and then Jules is like, not demure, not mindful.
Not